Hello and welcome to episode 76 of IOnTheTigers, a podcast all about the National Ice Hockey League, but one that always has an eye on the Telford Tigers. One big news story, I guess, across the NIHL this week, and it's involving Sheffield. Samuel Tremblay has signed with Sheffield Steelers for the rest of the season. Big news story because he's gone from the Steel Dogs to the Steelers. And it's going to leave the Steel Dogs playing the rest of the season with two non-British trained players. They could bring somebody in, but wouldn't have enough games to be eligible for the playoffs. So, yeah, Steel Dogs down to a couple of non-British trained players for the rest of the season. Been a lot of criticism that it's left the Steel Dogs short at a critical time of the season, going into playoffs. I'm going to take potentially a controversial view here, but surely that's what the partnership between the Sheffield teams was to ultimately ensure that the Steelers are successful. Don't get me wrong, as a Steel Dogs fan, I wouldn't be happy. But I think it's proving that perhaps it is actually working as the intention was. Take a look the other way. Steelers need an import. They go out and get somebody from Europe. There's probably going to be criticism. Well, hang on, you've got this partnership with the Steel Dogs and yet you don't use it, Players aren't given the opportunity. I think it's a good thing. I think that, where there are partnerships and there are teams at a more senior level, the aim should ultimately be for that most senior team to be the successful team, regardless, to a certain extent, of the impact that it has on the lower down teams. I'm expecting it's going to be controversial. I'm expecting lots of people to have a very different take on it. But yeah, just my view. Being honest, I'd like to see it happen more at Telford. Twos are, I can't quite say dominating the league because obviously Sutton and Sting are right up there, but they're winning lots of games and by big margins. Could do with some of those players coming through and putting up some points for the National League team. Controversial take? I don't know. Maybe something to explore a bit more in the off season. Maybe I'll do an episode on that then. But yeah, just my thoughts on it. I'm expecting not everybody's going to agree with me. Anyway, getting to the action for the week that's just gone. Having mentioned Tigers too, let's kick off with them. Sunday, it was a trip up to Billingham to take on the Billingham Buccaneers. Finished Buccaneers 1, Tigers 2-6. Another win for Tigers 2. And it's enough to put them top of the league on points difference. In the National League, I'm going to kick off actually with the Cup final. It was the weekend of the Cup final, so Romford Raiders and Leeds Knights were the two finalists. First leg Saturday night was in Romford, and that saw the Raiders take a 5-4 win to give them a narrow advantage heading up to Leeds the following night on Sunday. Would it be enough? Short answer is no, quite simply. Knights winning 4-1 up at Leeds to give them an 8-6 win on aggregate. So congratulations to the Leeds Knights who secure the first silverware of the season. I'm sure they will be hoping that it is not the last piece of silverware of the season, though. The coming weeks will tell us if that will be the case or not, though. In terms of the league, Saturday night, Tigers weren't playing, so I'm going to jump straight to the game with the Sharks, who are hosting the Seahawks. It was a close game. It finished Sharks 5, Seahawks 6. However, the big talking point seems to have been at the end of the second period. 4 players thrown out for fighting. Looks a bit of a lively affair there. Various things seem to have been said on social media. Bobby Chamberlain seems to have been picked out as perhaps having caused it, shall we say. Picked up a couple of minutes in penalties, but nothing further. Leaves the Sharks a little bit short on players at a pretty crucial stage of the season, I would say, for them, as they're in that hunt for that final playoff space. Bristol were on home ice on Saturday night, taking on Peterborough. It was a pretty comprehensive win for the Phantoms, winning 9-2 on the road. Up at the top of the table, Swindon Wildcats hosted Milton Keynes Lightning. This one was pretty close, in fact so close that it required overtime to separate them. Wildcats stepping up in overtime to secure a 4-3 win. Last but not least for the league, Sheffield Steel Dogs hosted the Berkshire Bees, and it was a 5-3 win on home ice for Sheffield. Sunday night, Tigers hosted the Pitbulls. As I said last week, it was a must-win game after 4 minutes, and losing 2-0, things were not looking promising. Pulled one back on a 5-on-3 power play, and then managed to give away a short-handed goal. Goal certainly didn't end there. In fact, they didn't end throughout the game, actually. It was just a crazy game to be watching, quite honestly. It finished Tigers 12, Pitbull 6. Yeah, it really does sum the game up. Interesting, quirky stat. So after Tigers scored their 6th goal, Napier was replaced in goal. All 3 netminders faced 26 shots, and all 3 netminders who played in the game conceded 6 goals. I don't think that's going to be the kind of thing that happens too often, to be fair. So there we go. Nice one there for the trivia. 18 goals. There's a fight as well. Joe Aston and Cameron Hamill went at it towards the end of the first period. Don't think it was a massive surprise. I think a couple of weeks ago, Hamill had perhaps been looking for an opportunity. Sort of continued, and towards the end of the first, that happened as well. But yeah, really big win for Tigers. Crazy game to be watching, it really was. And I say, after 4 minutes, really was fearing the worst. But no, suddenly found something, and yeah, sort of once we got going, that was it. Just kept on going as well. So yeah, great result. Bottom 4 were all in action against each other, so if Tigers were playing the Pitbulls, that meant that the Bees were taking on the Sharks. With the Tigers winning, a Bees win would be very, very useful to increase the gap to 3 points over the Sharks. And that is exactly what us Tigers fans got. The Bees winning 6-5. Bit of a late show there to walk away with the points. Fight right towards the end as well means that Mason Alderson will be missing the upcoming game against the Tigers as well. So a bit of a boost there for the Tigers, I would say. Elsewhere, Milton Keynes and Swindon went at it again, this time at Milton Keynes. Slightly different result this time around. Lightning 5, Wildcats 1. So a pretty comprehensive win there on home ice for Milton Keynes. And Seahawks and Steel Dogs played each other in a close game that finished 5-4 in favour of the Seahawks. So, the upcoming week, and I do stress week because there's plenty of midweek action in the NIHL. But before we do, it would be very remiss of me to miss out the fact that Tigers 2 have the Cup final this weekend, taking on the Sutton Sting. Home leg on Saturday night, away leg on Sunday night. Both teams have lost once in the league. And the other team, in both cases, they've lost on home ice to the other team, quite simply. You'd expect it to be close, you'd expect it to be tight. Being honest, I fancy Tigers 2 to walk away with the silverware. I think, having Vladimir Luka at that level is going to make all the difference. 2 pretty well-matched teams, but he really is a difference maker at that level. So, good luck to Tigers 2. With any luck this time next week, I'll be offering congratulations to Tigers 2 for their first bit of silverware of the season. NIHL. The action kicks off on Tuesday night as the Steel Dogs host the Knights. I'm going to go for the Steel Dogs to pinch this one. Knights got the first bit of silverware. Steel Dogs capable of turning teams over. Yeah, I'm going to go for a Steel Dogs win. Wednesday night, Phantoms host the Tigers. It's half term, it's midweek, of course. Telford and Peterborough playing. How's this one going to go? I mean, Tigers are on a pretty good run at the moment, actually, to be fair. I mean, could say, actually, past few games, they have had games that perhaps you would expect them to win, but it's all they can do. I'd love to say Tigers win, but I think the Phantoms will have just enough to get the win there. Friday night, Knights host the Steel Dogs. Fancy the Knights to win that one on home ice. The weekend, Saturday, huge game. Solway Sharks in 9th take on Telford Tigers in 8th. Again, for the Tigers, this just falls into a must-win game. They have to win that game. They have to win that game, and things are actually starting to look okay for playoffs. I'm aware that we've got a really tough run in. Playing the top 3 teams in the league in Solway for our final 4 games. So it is a tough run-in, but we get up to a 5-point gap, potentially even 7 if we were to win at Peterborough midweek. That would be a pretty good position to be in at this stage of the season. Fancy the Tigers do have enough to win it. I'm going to go for a Tigers win. Pitbulls host the Lightning. Pitbulls, I was going to say, but no. Pitbulls have been good on home ice, but yeah, I fancy the Lightning to have too much there. Wildcats host the Raiders. Yeah, Wildcats to win that one. The Raiders being the Raiders, they banned spring of surprise in that one, but no, Wildcats to win that one. Bees host the Seahawks. I fancy the Seahawks to have enough to win there, but it'll be tough. Don't think it's going to be a massive win for the Seahawks, but I think they'll do enough. And Phantoms host the Knights. Fancy the Knights to win that one. Sunday night, Tigers host the Wildcats. Going to have to go for an away win. Yeah, we just seem to struggle against the Wildcats quite simply. So yeah, Wildcats to win that one. Steel Dogs host the Sharks. Fancy the Steel Dogs to win there on home ice. Raiders host the Phantoms. I'm going to go for a home win there with the Raiders. Lightning host the Pitbulls. Lightning to win that one. And Seahawks host the Bees. Seahawks to win that one. And a little bit more comfortably than they did the previous night. So, there are my predictions for the upcoming week. As always, feel free to leave a comment. Let me know how I've got it wrong. Feel free to leave a comment. Let me know how I've got it wrong with regards to the whole situation at Sheffield and Tremblay moving to the Steelers for the rest of the season. If you want to come on, be a guest of the show, maybe talk about the situation at Sheffield, talk about how your team is getting on, what your predictions for the playoffs and onwards are. As always, get in contact, leave me a message. More than happy to welcome guests on. But in terms of this episode, that's it. I'll be back this time next week. Bye for now.